Tonight from Rocky Top and inside Thompson Bowling Arena, it's the SEC on ESPN. And a pair of one-loss teams trying to get back on track. Arkansas is 9-1 on the season. Number 9 Tennessee is 7-1 on the season. Welcome everybody. Tom Hart alongside Jimmy Dykes. Jimmy Joe, it's simple, right? Neither one of these teams is going to be defined by one loss, yet they're each anxious to put that loss behind them and get back on the right track.
Tom, they are. I thought a week ago this time that Tennessee was one of the top 3 or 4 teams really in all of college basketball, and they did not play well at all. And Alabama came in and put it on them on Saturday. I thought the same thing for Arkansas. I thought they were a top 25 team, did not show up against Missouri. So a lot of question marks for Rick Barnes and Eric Musselman to start this game.
They go right into John Fulkerson, and the rebound is ripped down by the 7'3" Connor Vanover, who from Tennessee needs to step up their play tonight.
The guy that just missed the opening shot, John Fulkerson, he's got to be back to being Fulky, and that means he's the hardest playing dude on the floor with an edge, and he has not been that the last 2 or 3 ball games.
Inside to Vanover, who's 7'3" with a 7'5" wingspan. Here's a look at Tennessee's starting 5. There is a change. Keon Johnson, the 5-star freshman, gets a chance to start. Victor Bailey, a great scorer, will start on the bench for Rick Barnes' team for the first time this season.
A good start for Arkansas, Tom, because Connor Vanover was 0 for 11 against Missouri. Missed shots around the rim. Eric Musselman calls his number the first possession, and he delivers off of a back screen.
And Santiago Vescovi, sophomore from Uruguay, is whistled for the foul. Arkansas is coming off of a loss to Missouri, Jimmy, in which they took 20 more shots, yet they still lost 81-68. It was a terrible shooting night. They shot just 29%.
And they missed so many shots, Arkansas did, around the rim, and Missouri only had 1 block. It was just the length, the physical bumps that Arkansas couldn't handle. 4-footing in.
And Vescovi slides in and takes a charge from Jalen Williams, a freshman from Fort Smith, Arkansas. This is a brand new roster for the Razorbacks, by the way. Meanwhile, Tennessee has sprinkled some talent into the returning players, and Rick Barnes has one of the best squads in the legit top 10 team.
Well, one of the issues that Rick Barnes has to keep his eye on early is last year, Arkansas completely took Vescovi out of the game by forcing him to go right, not allowing him to go left. And Tennessee starts 4 left-handers in this ball game tonight, so Arkansas early, they're shading the floor, funneling everything to the right. Can Tennessee capitalize on it?
Pretty fascinating to watch. Same defensive principles they put on Kobe Bryant when Musselman was coaching in the NBA. Tennessee, one of the best defensive teams in the country, but Arkansas able to slide in, and Jalen Tate a bucket on the shot blocker, E. Pons.
I believe that's only the 4th guy to score one-on-one against Eve Pons this year. Eve Pons coming in tonight, Tom, had given up 9 points as the on-ball defender for the entire season. He just gave up 2 right there with a really hard, determined, kind of an angry drive by Jalen Tate. He says, I know you're the National Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and I'm going to go right at you and right through your chin. Really well done by 11 in red.
Pons tied the school record for blocks last season, and last time out against Alabama, Jimmy had 5 blocks in a 5-minute, 15-second span.
It was crazy. He almost flipped the game. I was doing it that night with Carl Ravitch, and he had a play. I don't know if we'll have it later or not. Tom, he was literally sitting on the floor around the restricted arc when the ball was at the free throw line and recovered to block it. I mean, one of the most spectacular, uncommon, unique defensive plays I've seen all year.
Jalen Williams has already picked up his 2nd. The freshman sliding into the starting lineup. Eric Musselman trying to find the right combination of guys. Obviously not happy with the comp he had last time. Surprised he's leaving Williams in here. 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
No, I think what Eric wants to see is can his big lineup be effective tonight, because against Missouri, Musselman had to go small. He played 4 guards and 1 big, and it did not work. So he's going with a bigger lineup tonight and a really good drive and recovery off the 2nd foul.
Arkansas's opened up a 6-2 lead as Williams gets his first bucket. It was an Arkansas team that last year really played kind of backwards. right? And guards inside and length on the outside. Here's Vescovi. And Musselman was talking to us about that today. He said it did create some mismatches on the defensive end, but we had the mismatch on the offensive end, so it was worth it. Don't have that same issue this season.
No, Musselman last year, really good pass and a good cut. And great recovery, speed, and team recovery length of Tennessee. Arkansas last year, Tom, Mason Jones and Isaiah Joe could make some hard-guarded shots. Arkansas doesn't have a guy like that this year. Eric told you and I today it's the first time in the last 5 years as a head coach he's had to tighten the reins and talk about shot selection, and I will no longer allow bad shot. They got away with some in non-conference.
They're getting good looks here. They got decent looks against Missouri. They just couldn't make any. They went 3 for 23 on layups.
Yeah, that's it's hard to win ball games like that, and I like what Arkansas has done. They watched that Alabama film, and what did Alabama do to Tennessee on Saturday? They spread them out and turned the game into one-on-one, and so far, number 11 for Arkansas, Tates, has been really, really good driving that ball in this game.
A Razorback turnover, giving it back to Tennessee. The ball's just 2 for 7 to start this game. Johnson trying to work. Good Arkansas defense and a kick. We'll put a few more seconds on the shot clock. It'll be Tennessee basketball when we return to Thompson-Boling. Arkansas out to an early lead.
Tennessee is outstanding shooting that high release, extended arm, flick it up top shot. Rick Barnes has taught it for the past 20 years of his coaching career. They use a heavy ball in practice. They get the ball extended at the top, bend their knees, and simply flick it. It's almost an unblockable shot. Tennessee's really good at it.
Jimmy, we know it must be a big game tonight because you rented out a gym for us. So I really appreciate the extra effort, and it's even of more importance tonight because we know E. Pons is a great shot blocker for Tennessee. Arkansas's got 7-3 in the middle.
Well, they do. That's 87 inches of length that Tennessee's going to have to shoot over in this ball game. But that simple drill that I showed there, Rick Barnes has done that for the past 20 years. The first time I saw it was back at Texas with Chris Mim. And it's that high release. They say, let's go in the gym and flick it. And it's all about using a heavy ball and extending that arm straight up and just developing that wrist strength and flicking it. And you'll see Pons and Fulke do it in this ball game several times. And they will need that extended release tonight against Vanover, who's averaging almost 3 blocks a game.
Second best shot blocker in the league. 7'3" with a 7'5" wingspan. And the Tennessee foul will go against Keon Johnson. Well, one thing has been fixed for Arkansas as Tennessee shows full court pressure. That's production in the paint. All 5 shot attempts have come at the hoop tonight, and they're 4 or 5 in the lane.
Tennessee was struggling to guard the ball against Alabama. And Eric Musselman has watched that film multiple times with his guys saying, let's spread Tennessee out, and when you have a chance, drive it hard, drive it angry, and see if we can get that thing around the rim. So far, so good.
Correction, that foul on Tennessee a moment ago was on E.J. Anasicki. Big fella into the game. Here's the straightaway shot. Off the mark for Josiah Jordan-James.
Tate has really played well to carry the ball right now. He's driven it hard. He's had some physical box-offs on the defensive end.
Pons caught that thing on the way up. Could have put it in his pocket.
There's not a more impactful guy at the 4 position in all of college basketball, Tom, I don't think, than Yves Pons. And most of that work is done on this end of the floor, but he can guard multiple skills, not multiple positions. He can guard multiple skills as well as anybody.
Vanover with the tip. That is size 17's off the floor, and Arkansas opened up a 10-4 advantage.
I love the start by the Hogs, Tom, on the road. Not coming out shooting jump shots, not trying to have anything pretty about their game. Getting dirty baskets, body blow baskets on the road is how you win in the SEC.
No answer from deep on the other end. Great swing. And on the skip pass, Josiah Jordan-James has his second consecutive bucket. And the ball's within one.
It's almost a guarantee in basketball. When you push that thing in your conversion offense up one side of the floor, if you can find the backside on the first pass, you'll have an open look. Well done by Vanover. Wow,
yeah,
what a start, huh?
Takes half of his attempts from deep. He can stroke it.
That's one of the guys that Eric Musselman pulled into his office in the last couple of days and said, I want you to understand what a good shot for us is and what a not good shot is. And Arkansas is taking really good looks first 6 or 7 minutes of this game.
Victor Bailey reverses it in, normally starting off the bench tonight. And Arkansas turnovers. Jalen Tate tried to thread the needle and work it into Desi Sills.
Yeah, Arkansas, they're very good in transition. And you think about their numbers, 42% of Arkansas's attempts on the year are from the three-point line, and really good recognition of Bailey to know that Vanover was coming at him on the left side of the rim, so he hesitates and takes the ball to the right side. And Eric Musselman was as frustrated as I've seen him as the head hog after the game press conference against Missouri. And nothing, he told us today, nothing went well in that game. They got out coached from the head coach, the assistants, to the players, and it's been a tough 2 days for Arkansas in Fayetteville.
Shading Vescovi on the right side, Jimmy, to the point you made earlier. It's not just Vescovi. There are times where Tennessee will have 5 lefties on the floor at the same time. So that approach is applicable to everybody.
Yeah, it is. Now, when Keon Johnson and Springer in the game, can you, if you're Arkansas, make the switch and understand, okay, now I can't funnel this guy right? I think it's a difficult thing, Tom, to ask of your team in a 2-day prep that we're going to shade the entire floor right. Can Arkansas pull it off? If so, man, that's a really good thing for the Hogs on the road.
Barnes well aware of it, and that's what Eric Musselman told his guys as Keon Johnson gets a bucket. So listen, Coach Barnes brought it up in his press conference. He knows what we did last time. He knows we're going to try to do it again. So the Arkansas Razorbacks almost had to think of a counter to their original plan.
You mentioned it earlier. Eric Musselman said when he was in the NBA, in one game against Kobe, the entire team forced Kobe to the right the first quarter, to his left the second quarter, to his right the third quarter. I'm not sure what they did the fourth quarter. But think about this. How many times in the NBA does the entire team have to change what they do for one guy? That's been a really short list, and Kobe's on it.
Kalen Robinson with the rebound. Freshman guard for Arkansas. Baseline drive and a kick out. Vance Jackson off the mark. Arkansas is not a great shooting team. Tennessee will run, and it's left short by Jaden Springer, who battled an ankle injury in the Bama loss. Over Plavcic, and a 3 for Jackson.
Vance Jackson started his career at UConn, then he went to New Mexico for a couple of years. Hasn't ever really quite figured it out, but 2 in red has a ton of potential. Eric frees him up to knock down threes. Arkansas hot early on the offensive end.
Arkansas's got the early lead on Tennessee. Tom Hart alongside Jimmy Dykes. Neither team shot the ball well last time out. Tennessee, Jimmy, shot just 32% from the floor. That snapped a 4-game run where they had been at 50% or better. What's the concern for Rick Barnes with Tennessee's offense?
Well, it's continuing to move the ball side to side and get Arkansas some closeouts. And this is it's a Tennessee team that doesn't have that guy who can just break off and go make a play. So their system has to get them good looks. And probably the message for Rick Barnes in his last time out, though, was same thing he told his guys on Sunday, that I will not accept when the other team plays harder than us. I think Arkansas has played harder so far, and it's shown up. Arkansas, 12 rebounds in the game so far to Tennessee's 4. That is an effort, a hustle, and a fight stat.
Vescovi beat his man to the spot, and then Kalen Robinson committed the foul, knocking down Vescovi. Hey, a really funny moment from Santiago Vescovi. Last week he was on the Tennessee radio network with the great Bob Kessling, and they asked him about his name and if it ever causes issues. He said, yeah, you know, be picking up an order for lunch or maybe a Starbucks, because I never tell them my name's Santiago, because that just leads to confusion and further conversation. I just want to grab my food and bounce. So I tell them my name's Bob. Nothing about Santiago Vescovi suggests
like a
Bob.
No, it does not.
Jumper off the mark from Keon Johnson. Vescovi had a
Arkansas.
fantastic game against Arkansas, their first matchup last season, and that caused Musselman to put the clamps on him game 2.
Arkansas having a lot of success scoring around the rim, and here's why. They're not messing around with it. They're not doing crazy stuff and having Euro steps and spins. That wasn't a terrific play that time by J.D. Notae, but for the most part, Arkansas is being sound and solid around the rim, not shooting through 6 or 7 arms that are bothering the basketball. Problems they had with Missouri's length, they have cleaned up so far in this game.
Jeremiah Tillman had a double-double against Missouri's big, 25 and 11, and the Razorbacks without one of their main, if not their main front court player, Justin Smith, the 6'7" transfer from Indiana, out for the next couple of weeks. Ankle injury.
That's a big loss, and that's a really big loss for Arkansas, who's going to have to try to win without Justin Smith on the floor, who's probably the only guy they have other than Moses Moody that can play the 3 or the 4, kind of on that big wing position.
Razorbacks push. They're not a great transition team. Which doesn't really add up because they're so guard-oriented. There's a second on Bob, a.k.a. Vescovi.
Different hair, same game though this year. Has a very graceful, elegant stroke. Not going to beat anybody off the bounce with speed or quickness, just kind of manages the game. But he's got to step up as well. Kenan White, Fulke, same thing. Those guys got to start playing now. And Rick Barnes has no nonsense, eye-to-eye conversations about what he expects from his upperclassmen.
Fulkerson late getting there, and a jumper over the top of him from Jalen Tate. Half dozen for the grad transfer from Northern Kentucky.
And Tate has really played well now. He's a rim and short jumper threat on the offensive end.
Springer with his first bucket of the night. Nice back cut. And nowhere to go with it. Moses Moody, likely one and done first round draft pick, is a Arkansas product out of Little Rock, played at both Parkview and North Little Rock before going on to Montverde down in Florida for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think he is. There's some questions about his overall foot speed and explosiveness. Can he stay in front of a pro athlete at that wing position? But man, does he know how to play the game, Moses Moody? You're exactly right. He's a phenomenal with a putback game. And I think he's just as good a shooter as Isaiah Joe and with better shot selection.
Well, Fitz, he learned some moves from Isaiah Joe this summer, playing with Joe and Mason Jones. He said, I try to guard Isaiah, he'd put a move on me and score, and instead of getting mad, I'd say, hold on, walk me through that move. I'd love to use that same thing.
That's being a sponge, and I talked about Moses Moody, I think, in the last game. One of the best things he does, Tom, as a freshman, 5 in red, is he doesn't get in the way. And you can put him at the 2, the 3, or the 4 and call a play, and he's got it. Like his mind is very accelerated for a young kid in terms of understanding how to play the game and how to operate in the short corner. You can move him all over the floor. He's classic hard to guard, man.
His mind is also accelerated for his future. Did an interview with Bo Mattingly on the Hog Pod in Arkansas, and he said, I work so hard because I realize that my life at 35 is going to be determined by what I do now. So if I'm tired, no time to be tired. I'm getting ready for that next level.
You win with guys that they play the game like ball is all I've got. That's Moses Moody.
To the half, we send it back to Tom and Jimmy.
All right, Kevin, thanks. Yeah, Cameron Thomas is the 4th highest scoring freshman over the last 10 seasons behind guys like Trae Young and Antoine Davis. 24.5 points a game, on pace to be the highest by an SEC freshman since Chris Jackson at LSU. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf averaged 30 in 88-89. What is it about the LSU guys that can fill it up, Jimmy?
Man, Cameron Thomas is just a big-time shot maker. He gets it off as quick as any freshman that I've seen in a long time, coming off of pin downs. Cameron Thomas is a bucket waiting to happen, and if you can't just be right there and check his breath, climb into his jersey, this guy's going to put 25 or 30 on anyone in the SEC. I mean, he makes hard-guarded shots in this freshman class better than anybody else in the country.
I've never heard check his breath. That's
close.
That is really. Victor Bailey Jr. at the free throw line. Got another one coming. Junior from Austin, Texas.
You know what's not close?
What's not?
The rebounds in this game. 16 for Arkansas, 6 for Tennessee.
Arkansas, fantastic rebounding team. They're +9 in the margin. They went from 342nd last year to 25th in the country in rebound margin this season. Mid-range
that's really well done. Yeah, Tom, that's really well done. Arkansas just goes to it's a stack on both elbows. Nolan Richardson used to use that same set as a delay game late, and Tate just comes right off of it. That's his game. 11 in red is automatic from that 12, 13-foot mark.
There's the flick from Fulkerson over the 7-3 Vanover.
Same set.
Moody. And an Arkansas turnover. Sills wasn't looking for it.
Flick it. That's what they describe. And watch Fulke against Vanover. He's going to get it up top, extend it high, get it up. So high, he's out of the camera shot. My home office, but that's why you work on it day after day after day after day. That high, extended, almost unblockable shot. If you can get it off over Vanover at 7-3, you can get it off over anyone in college ball.
It's not easy. The Vanover boys are all 7-footers. They outgrew the growth chart on the family fridge before they left for high school. There's Fulkerson again against the 7-3 fella, and he'll give it up. Another touch for the senior. Preseason all-conference to the left.
That's really good. And Arkansas doesn't come for a double. They trust Vanover's length to bother Fulke, and Fulke back-to-back possessions over the top of 23 in red.
Desi Sills averages 13 a game, hasn't scored yet, and he gets it knocked away by Jaden Springer. One-on-one. Left it short. Missed opportunity for the Vols. And then stolen right back by Victor Bailey. Three ball off the back rim. Pons the board. Hesitation.
Oh, it's
low by.
That is beautiful basketball. Vanover that time was in drop coverage, Tom, on a ball screen, meaning he didn't go out and try to impact the ball screen. He was trying to protect the rim. And just a beautiful step through and power drive right around Vanover.
Moody's first bucket, one of only 3 in the SEC to average 16 points and 6 boards, and the only guard. Here's Bailey again inside, and he gets stripped. It looks like that'll be the second on Tate.
Back-to-back possessions, Arkansas drags Vanover into a ball screen, but see how he stays back? He doesn't go out on that three-point line with the ball screens being set, so he is in what we call drop coverage. And Tennessee going right at the drop coverage of Vanover on back-to-back plays. Got him a basket, now it gets him to the free throw line.
Bailey's dad was an NFL wide receiver, played his college ball at Mizzou. Mom, Tanja Buford Bailey, bronze medal winner in the Olympics in '96 on the track. Number 1, Gonzaga highlights our Thursday Night Hoops doubleheader tonight over on ESPN and the app. The Zags host 9-2 BYU at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Excuse me, that's Thursday. That's not tonight. Then Mick Cronin at 7-2 UCLA are in Tempe to take on Bobby Hurley, and 4-3 Arizona State. All games, as always, available on the app.
Tom, on the KenPom site today, I was looking at it. Gonzaga's best chance to lose is at St. Mary's later on this year, and they still have an 85% chance to win the game. That's their best chance to lose. Man, dominant. Them and Iowa are scoring 122 points per 100 possessions. That's as good of an offense as I've seen in a long time.
Arkansas has turned it over 10 times tonight. Pons just 3 of 13 from deep. Tried to stroke one. Vanover has it knocked away. Sloppy basketball for the Hogs. When they get shots off, though, they've been great. Vance Jackson's second three.
I think that's twice now. Jackson hammered home from that right corner.
57% shooting, but double digits in turnovers for Arkansas here in this first half.
Hard shot, right? Hard, really hard shot. Got him.
Here's Vanover.
Take that one every time, though. That is good shot selection in your conversion push. You got it to the deep corner. You made the defense flatten out. Conover trails on the high extended left wing, just didn't drop.
A Tennessee timeout with 4:17 to go.
Vance
Arkansas.
Jackson. Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, they're good from three, 40%, Jimmy Joe. I mean, he's got a point, right? I mean, first class has been shrunk this year on the Jet.
Well, Seth is right, man. That plane is either parked in Waco right now or Spokane, waiting on one of those teams to board first. Those two teams, to me, have separated themselves. Iowa is not too far behind them now. That is a juggernaut offensively. Iowa can put on the floor. And then there's going to be maybe like the entire coach section, the first 4 rows, just the entire Big Ten, just get on. The entire Big Ten, just get in on, and you get to sit in the first few rows of coach, and then we'll go from there. But really good start by Arkansas. 28-24. The rebound number, I keep talking about it, but 19 boards for Arkansas to 8. I mean, that shows me as a coach who's ready to fight in this game tonight. That's the stat that shows that the most to me. High shot coming.
Shot clock at 10. That threat is lingering in the paint for Arkansas. Springer able to spin it around, and pardon me, James.
The wingspan, we talked about how it affects defense. The wingspan that time got James from the right side to the left side of the rim and avoid 23 in red. Is really well done.
Yeah. Connor Vanover's mom played women's basketball at Arkansas, still the program record for shot blocks, block shots at 6'3". Contested shot, and there's a foul on the 3. And we got 3 coming for Moses Moody.
Bad foul.
Springer's first.
Yeah, Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson both come in with they still sticks his nose on the ball. I mean, everything's great till that point right there. When you lean or you lunge forward against a 3-point shooter, you are asking for problems. Springer felt like that Moses stuck his foot out a little bit. I didn't see it, but Arkansas with a chance to extend this lead.
Moody at the free throw line. You know, I was at Kentucky last night. A lot of folks are talking about the struggles that B.J. Boston is in. Meanwhile, Moses Moody talked about his struggles through the first couple games of the season, Jimmy, and I never heard a guy say this. He said, I'd struggled in my first 2 games, and my phone was ringing off the hook. And I was trying to decide, do I pick it up? Do I want to hear what people have to say? But it was full of people calling to help me, to tell me what I needed to do to right my game.
Well, I hope all those phone calls were from Eric Musselman. Because that's who you need to be listening to.
Yeah,
that's the problem, man, that the kids get with the social media and the workout guys and all that stuff. And there's so much thrown at a first-year player. But I trust Moses Moody as a person as much as I trust him as a basketball player. And I have tremendous trust in him on the floor.
Yeah, I just think it's such a difference when
it is.
The feedback you get is supportive as opposed to critical.
Yeah, doesn't happen often. Doesn't happen for me very much. No.
I think you're doing a great job.
Really good drive. Arkansas just to continue to drive the ball and not doing crazy stuff around the rim. They're driving the ball, playing off 2 feet, making good rim decisions, and making the right pass out of it.
A Tennessee turnover following the Devontae Davis money. Hawks by 7. And Fulkerson able to hustle his way into a rebound. Here's James. And he's fouled on the 3. Moody returns the favor.
That's a really good decision by, I think it was Springer, who got a piece of the logo. And he could have taken a tough 2, which you're going to make about 22% of the time right there. Yeah, it was Springer. And you're recovering now to a left-handed shooter. So the reach and the bothering the basketball is about 1.5 feet longer than the right side. James knocks it down. Tom, I am in favor, and I think this is going to happen. I think in the next year or 2, we're going to go to 6 fouls per player in the college game.
Okay.
I'm feeling the momentum for it, and I'm all for it, and here's why. We've been living for 5 fouls since Adolph Rupp. The game has changed, man. The speed, the physicality, all those things have changed, and we need to, and it would allow the officials to miss a call. They're going to miss one. There's too much stuff happening. It would allow for a bad call to not affect the game so much as it does right now. And look for that momentum to start to build.
Loose ball. Everybody's trying to jump on it. E. Pons will be one of them that ties it up. My counter to that would be E. Pons. Here's a guy who's one of the best shot blockers in the country. Jimmy, he commits 2.1 fouls per 40 minutes. He knows how to play defense, even though he plays in a manner in which most guys pick up fouls. There's a way to do it and play with 5.
Well, there is, but back to the other point, E. Pons got a bad foul call on him in the first half against Alabama and had to sit. And if he has an extra one to work with, he doesn't have to sit, and maybe it changes the game. I just think from talking to coaches, there's some momentum starting to build for that philosophy.
Here's Pons. Top-like look off the feet from Springer.
Not a better athlete, just in terms of running, jumping, strength, quickness, explosiveness. Not a better athlete in all of college ball. Forget the position.
Jackson gets turned around.
Got him. He absolutely went right at Pons. And again, this is only the 4th and 5th guy this year to score against Pons in a one-on-one situation. It's happened twice for Arkansas.
James muscles his way down the lane but can't finish. Approach the minute mark in the first half. It's Arkansas by 4. Extra pass and another 3. J.D. Notae, one of the top scorers in the SEC, gets his first points.
You mentioned Arkansas has not been great in their transition offense. Their effective field goal percentage, number 256 in the country coming in. And that comes from my guy, Will Warren, who does a great job with stats in that Knoxville area. And talking about Arkansas's lack of always finishing off those conversion pushes. So far tonight, really, really good.
And Eric Musselman must be pleased with the shot selection. 56% from the floor, 5 of 11 from deep.
Driving that ball, man.
Notae gives it up. Henderson stepped down the baseline.
Got to know where you are. When you're on that baseline, Tom, you have to understand, if you want to show your numbers, you make sure that both feet are pointed towards the passer, and you can't step back to get momentum going towards the rim. You know where you are. And you're playing out of that dunker spot. Your feet have to be educated and understand where the court is. Costly turnover possibly to close out this half.
Bailey will start it. Pons out there to help. Clock at 10. Here's Springer, 7, 5. Vanover got a piece of it. Arkansas with a chance for a shot. Notae was one. It goes. Did he get it off is the only question.
That is a huge momentum play. And Tennessee went too fast. I think it was Springer or Johnson, but he went too fast. And you drive it and allow Arkansas to, that ball's out of his hands, absolutely. That is a huge, huge play in this game. And man, you talk about timing and understanding clock. all those things. Tennessee goes too fast, and boy, a big swing in my eyes heading into that locker room.
And so it's Arkansas by a touchdown. Let's get you back to the studio. Kevin Connors and company. Fellas, all you. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN from Thompson-Boling Arena, where Jimmy, Tennessee is 89-4 all-time as a top 10 team at home. Of those 4 losses, one of them came last time out, and if they don't pick it up, they'll have another one here tonight. What's going wrong with the Vols?
Well, it's really what's going right with Arkansas. And here's what, remember what Eric Musselman told us earlier today? He got a text message from Tom Thibodeau, the head coach of the New York Knicks, and said, your shot selection is absurd. And Arkansas' shot selection in this game has been really good. Started off with a nice back screen for Vanover, got him going early around the rim. And Arkansas, their degree of difficulty of their shot they're taking around the rim has really come down. And this is a huge play now. Springer goes too early, right into the shot blocker of Vanover, who did a nice job, by the way, of blocking his shot, keeping it in play, allows Arkansas to have a 7-point lead. And if it weren't for the 11 turnovers for Arkansas, Tom, this would be a 12, 13, 14-point lead for Arkansas on the road.
They've doubled them up on the glass. So absurd shot selection, is that bad?
That's really bad. That's worse than bad. And I thought it was really interesting that Eric told us that for the first time in 5 years as a head coach, he had to have a hard meeting one-on-one with guys saying, look, that shot is no longer the shot that we're going to take. Do you understand me? And you ask him, do you think they got it? And Coach said, I know they got the message, and the message has carried over. Good job by Arkansas to have, people say you need to have a short-term memory in basketball. Not true. You need to have a long-term memory when you're learning a lesson like that, and Arkansas has so far.
Tennessee immediately goes into Fulkerson, who scores over the top of Vanover. Vols just 41% from the floor in the first half.
You know how hard it is to shoot over a guy that measures 87 inches with his arms up? It's incredibly hard. I'll answer my own question. Watch Fulke again. He gets it low. He has leverage. Now watch the shot. That left arm is completely extended. That's an all-wrist flick-it shot. Tennessee does it. Rick Barnes coaches it as well as really anyone in the country.
Another Razorbacks turnover. That's their third by Tate, I should say. Here's James. Rebounded by Jalen Tate at 6'6".
Ones you got to make, right? If you're Tennessee, You're wide open threes, man. You got to make them.
Here's Moses Moody, and a reach in on James will be his first. This is a very balanced attack for this Arkansas team. James pleading his case with Rick Barnes. They're missing Justin Smith, who gives them 12 and 7 every night, but with him out there, they have a handful of guys that can get hot at any moment.
Yeah,
great
they do.
Depth.
Yeah.
Strip from behind.
You can't mess around with the ball that long if you're Williams on the post. I mean, Pons is the primary defender, and you know the help's going to rotate down.
Muscovy hasn't scored tonight. They put the clamps on. Look at Sills overplaying the left side. James try to feed Fulkerson. Shot clock at 5. Fulkerson draws a foul from Vanover. It's the first.
Tom, the ball for Tennessee to me is it getting stuck? You know what? Let's just watch the next possession. The number of guys that catch it and hold it. 1001, 1002, and then they start their move again, or they get the ball moving. And that might be the same message that Rick is saying to his guys right now.
Is that confusion on where it needs to go? Arkansas deserve credit for what they're doing defensively?
No, yeah, Arkansas is dialed in. Absolutely. Arkansas has got good length. They got good pressure. And heard the guys in the studio talking about it at halftime, and they're spot on. Tennessee, they don't have that one guy like a Jordan Bone that if you climb up into their jersey, bam, man, they're just gone. And they're getting in that lane and making plays happen. And I think Arkansas is continuing to smell that out as the game goes on. And I expect Arkansas to continue with that hard on-ball pressure.
Razorbacks holding on to a 4-point lead here in the second half. Jalen Williams had 2 fouls early in this game, went to the bench. He's got 6 points now.
Yeah, they went right at Fulkerson. Arkansas did. Same thing Alabama did. Same thing Alabama did. They got Fulkerson out on the perimeter defensively and got him on the move. And then they got the ball to his guy on the move, and it becomes a little bit of a foot race at that point. Fulkerson on an island, he's got to have help. Fulkerson has to have gap help when they drag him out defensively on the perimeter.
Playing and force him to one side. We talked about how that was his plan against Kobe in the league as Keon Johnson hits the jumper. I pulled the numbers, Jimmy. Kobe in 12 games against Eric Musselman's team's averaged 32 on 50% shooting. Both of those numbers better than the rest of his career. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Wow.
Pons on the glass.
Eric's not the first guy to destroy the analytics of what you come up with in your staff meeting, right?
No, he's not.
That's tremendous. Good research by you. Got him. Just a little isolation play for Fulke at the 12-foot mark, and you try to take away his left. He's much better going right than you realize. That was really well done.
Here's James now on the open floor. Now Vescovi from the wing. Got to knock those down, doesn't he?
I mean, you have to if you want to win the game. You want to stay on the floor. I mean, that's a wide open three. It's a very graceful release, but at some point the ball's got to go in for 25 and one. Good movement by Arkansas. Got him. Short corner. It continues to get guys about once a game. The crowded corner because of the extended three-point line, and guys just don't understand. You have about 11 or 12 inches less to work with over there.
14th turnover of the night for Arkansas.
That just drives you nuts as a coach, man. It just makes you want to sit on a park bench and talk to the pigeons like, what? Why? What? The court is the same way everywhere we go, the same size.
Brent Hoosiers, put that in the VCR. Fulkerson with a turnaround. He's into double figures.
Yeah, he's starting to feel it. Fulke's starting to be Fulke. He's playing hard and he's playing fast on the offensive end.
Spin, and it's lost on the way up. James may have gotten a piece of it. Tennessee has led this game for a total of 10 seconds. Looking to reclaim the lead here.
Tennessee doing damage at the orange part of the floor, and I expect Tennessee to continue to hammer away. Ball screen space, go to work.
Back to Fulkerson. To the left.
That's a good miss, though. That's an aggressive, fast move, no hesitation by Fulker.
Impressive defense by Connor Vanover tonight. He's taken a bunch of shots from the balls. He's held up strong. We got a tie game. Second half from Knoxville. In advance of the College Football National Championship tomorrow, the 30th Annual Home Depot College Football Awards Show. It's a 90-minute virtual special this year. Reese Davis hosts along with Holly Rose, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the app.
I think Devontae Smith will win a couple more awards, Tom?
Yeah, I think so.
I love what Gus Malzahn. Yeah, Gus told me last night. He said, Devontae Smith, if he was playing flag football, you would never get his flag. I thought that's a great description, right? Yeah. I can see that happening.
Arkansas may have had a big win in the offseason. Looked like Texas was flirting with their defensive coordinator, Barry Odom. Likes where he is in Northwest Arkansas. Here's Bailey for three. Up the front of the rim, Tennessee only 2 for 13 from deep.
Man, that's brutal. That's a brutal number because they've had good looks in this game. 4 or 5 just wide open shots.
Moody hadn't scored this half. Vanover gets a touch. Into the corner. And Vance Jackson is deadly from there. He's got his third 3 and 11 points.
And Tom, all 3 of them have come from the right corner. It's unusual. Normally a right-handed guy likes the left corner because you got a little bit more room to work with. You can get buried behind the backboard in the right corner. Jackson stays just far enough up that he doesn't lose vision of that rim. Boy, he's living in that spot.
On a night where we've seen bad court awareness, Moses Moody commits his second.
I'm talking about right there. See how Jackson scoots up just a little bit? Because a right-handed guy, if he gets buried deep in that corner, he actually loses sight of about half of the rim. Good awareness, and Moses Moody good awareness as well as in terms of where the ball needs to go. Big spread out stack zone by Arkansas. You got to move it, you got to cut it. You can't stand and watch right now if you're Tennessee. 12 on the shot clock.
Got a piece of it. Near steal from Note. Shot clock at 6 now. Springer they got another piece of it. Note fantastic at the top. Vescovi's runner never draws iron, and it's a shot clock violation against Tennessee.
I love the change of defense by Eric Musselman with a short clock to work with, and the ball never got to the logo. There was no cut. There was no knife cut through the zone. There was no drive cut through the zone. Poor possession offensively for Tennessee.
Note off of Vescovi's face.
Legal play, by the way.
Yeah, it's totally legal. It's like Coming to America in the face. Coming to America 2's coming out, Jimmy. We should go see that.
Look how tall Vanover is when he stands there in the group huddle. What do you say? He has
you
one
know what
brother
his,
that. Yeah. What's this again now?
Well, I got another one for you. You know what his dream vehicle is? A sports car. He said, I would love to have a sports car someday, but he would have to rip out the seat and sit in the back.
Yes, sit in the back seat. Yes, he would. He's a key guy now for Arkansas, and he's struggled some big time in the last game. And he's got to get more physical. I talked about how he as tall as he is, he still has to play low and with leverage around the rim. Too many plays, Vanover is playing like a stick straight up and down, and those plays need to be cut down.
Yeah, he was 0 for 11 in that loss to Missouri. Jackson goes 1 of 2 from the line. 9th-ranked Tennessee trying to avoid a losing streak. They lost last time out against Alabama.
Who inside that zone can make a play? There's a touch for Folke, but just a crazy pass out of it.
Great recovery by the Hogs. Pons out to Vescovi. Left his feet. Fulkerson used the left side of the rim and went in.
Yeah, that was really good defense by Arkansas. Kid just hits a hard shot on you. Pat him on the butt, go the other end, keep playing. It's all you can do.
I think Fulkerson took a shot to the face on that attempt. Loose ball, coughed up by Arkansas. 5 on 2 for Tennessee, and Vescovi brings it out. Springer, corner 3. And Tennessee has its second lead of the game.
That was a scoring sprint by Springer in the conversion offense by Tennessee.
Tate. Extra pass, Vanover. And then a foul on the rebound. Looks like it'll be the third on Moses Moody.
Only the third 3 of the game for Tennessee after this shot by Folke is that again, it's an unblockable shot. And the sprint of Springer to the corner. He scored because he ran and demanded the ball. Excuse me, got choked on a Boston baked bean. Trying to keep my energy level up.
It's the first time that's ever happened. Should have gone with Bush's, a Knoxville product. Here's Pons in the corner.
Put behind. Yeah, good hands.
Recovered. Shot clock at 10. Vescovi in the paint. A lot of those. First points of the night. Santiago Vescovi.
Moses Moody has got to get involved offensively for Arkansas. Got to finish. Got to finish. There you go.
Tied up and he puts it in.
Not the strongest cat in the world, but man, this time that was a determined get the ball on the rim move by Vanover. Well done, 2-3.
Friday, the Clippers and Warriors highlight our ESPN NBA doubleheader. Plus, we'll have the Ravens-Titans wildcard game Sunday on ESPN and ABC, as well as the national championship game between Alabama and Ohio State Monday. That's a look at our big lineup for the week. How about the big guy inside for Arkansas, Jimmy?
Yeah, Tom, Connor Vanover does not have the strongest lower body. His leg strength is not what it's going to be going forward. He's 7'3" and 240 pounds. So when you don't have natural leg strength, you have to play with bended knees and play low and get some leverage. I thought he did a pretty good job of it on that last play. When he comes up with this offensive rebound or gets the bar here, he's going to, right there, right there, it's not a lot of bend, but it's more bend than he's been playing with around the rim. I like the fight and I like the expression afterwards. And Arkansas is a different team. He's a difference maker when this cat plays with a little bit of an angriness about him when he's around the rim.
I mentioned the national championship game Monday night, Alabama and Ohio State. One of his twin brothers, older twin brothers, made it to 3 national championship games to watch Alabama. He was a 7-foot saxophone player in the $1 Million Band. He said it was really easy to see him at halftime because he'd had that little band hat about a foot above everybody else.
So if you're 7'1" and your band hat is another, what, at least a foot, now you're at 8'1".
Yeah, you got
his other brother, 7-foot twin Brandon, plays at UCA in Conway, Arkansas.
Kick out to Bailey. 3 balls, and Tennessee pulls in front again.
They shoot the ball, Tennessee does, better than the numbers indicate. And Rick Barnes continues to tell me that. I'm sure he's telling his team that. You got to feed him energy. Here's this double stack high that Arkansas has scored off of, I believe now 3 out of 4 times in this game.
Why is it so hard for Tennessee to defend?
Yeah, well, if we go back and look at it, those Tennessee defenders are kind of stuck behind the stack. So it's allowing that point guard, Tom, just to turn the corner. And if you have the green light, just keep on turning. This goes back to the days of Nolan Richardson at Arkansas, Tom, when he used to close out a game and kind of use that double stack elbows as a delay game. And Fulke just, when he gets a head of steam coming at you and your name is Vanover, it's advantage Fulke.
It's a second on Vanover. John Fulkerson out of Kingsport, Tennessee at the free throw line. Graduate in his 5th year here in Rocky Top.
You know, the shooter at the free throw line can't break the plane until the ball hits the rim. It's amazing how many times that happens and doesn't get called. We look for it late, like when there's 2 seconds to go and you're trying to run a free throw play. It happens all the time during the regular game.
Vanover finds the entry pass. Fadeaway from 16. Is that a good shot for Arkansas?
Anytime Tom Hart says Vanover fade away from 16, that's another text coming from Tom Thibodeau saying your shot selection is absurd.
Avery Johnson also texted him. He said, I'm not even halfway through my sandwich and you guys have taken multiple bad shots. That was Arkansas's last game against Mizzou. Here's Victor Bailey Jr. at the free throw line. Vanover just committed his 3rd. All 3 of those coming in the second half. And Bailey's got another one coming. The SEC Network has Alabama covered Monday before the College Football Playoff Championship game. Our pregame show starts at 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Take you right up to kickoff and watch the game against Ohio State. The Alabama radio broadcast team featuring Eli Gold. And then finally, wrap up the day with the SEC football final, highlights, interviews, and a complete game.
Victor
Did
Bailey.
Gus give you a scouting report on Bama, Jimmy?
Yeah, they're really good. yeah. Nick Saban he's seen the game differently than he did 5 or 6 years ago when he just thought dominant defense could win the national title. Offensively, they are putting people away in the first. Bad foul.
Whoa!
Bad foul. Wow.
It went. J.D. Notae is one of the guys who can create his shot, according to Eric Musselman, and he created that while just looking to draw the foul.
The second time in this game that we've had a foul on a 3-point shooter. And again, you're jumping towards the shooter. Do we ever, if you're Tennessee, practice that in the practice facility? Do we ever have a drill where, okay, let's jump towards the shooter when at the three-point line? The answer to that is not only no, but heck no. And a really good job by Note to smell it out, keep his composure, keep his eyes on the rim, and a huge possible turn right here for the Hogs.
Transfer from Jacksonville University, and the Dolphin makes it a 4-point play. 1-point game.
Never in the history of basketball has a staff gotten together in the practice plan and saying, let's give 5 minutes to lunging at three-point shooters and fouling. Never in the history of the game.
And then a foul off the ball.
Victor Bailey is Tennessee's most important guy tonight. You know why I say that?
Why?
Because he has 14 points, but it's his first night for him not to start. Talk about number 12 in white. So he doesn't pout, he doesn't get his head down, he doesn't sulk, he doesn't feel sorry for himself. He says, all right, coach, if that's what you think is best for us, and he comes in and produces. And Victor Bailey is a big part of this turnaround right now in this second half.
That last foul was Jaden Springer, by the way, his second. Bailey getting a hand on that pass along the baseline.
Got him.
Beautiful entry.
Yeah. We're in a tight game. You can't give up 2 points on an out of bounds under. I don't think Tennessee had their body on Arkansas bodies when the ball was handed to the official. Bam! Got you 2 points.
Hogs have erased a 5-point deficit now thanks to a 6-0 run. Fulkerson.
Got a doubling, don't you?
They tried. Back outside. Got it.
Here's my guy. I'm telling you, he's the most important guy for Tennessee. Not because of his points tonight, but because of how he responded to coach saying, you know what, I'm not going to start you tonight. I'm going to start somebody else, a freshman in your place. And Victor Bailey Jr. says, fine, coach. I'll come in and still get my 20 for you, and I'll play my butt off doing it. Well done, Victor Bailey. Even if they lose the game, well done, Victor Bailey.
Note working on Springer. James left his feet, and that allowed the drive and the finish by Vance Jackson, who's got 3 threes, but that time got in for a close 2.
He is very skilled, Vance Jackson. That time, instead of shooting a 3 from the corner, he makes a play out of the corner.
Foul away from the ball. I believe that's the second on Desi Sills. Remember, Arkansas playing tonight without Justin Smith, who gives them 12 and 7 and 26 minutes a game. The transfer from Indiana. Eric Musselman said the procedure went well on Justin. He should be back sooner than originally expected. Great news for Arkansas. 1-1 here for Springer.
Yeah, Arkansas plus 11 on the boards without their best rebounder, Justin Smith.
Springer misses the front end. Arkansas with a chance to claim the lead.
Got him isolated on an island again. Folky needs help. Why'd you pick up your dribble? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had the mismatch on Folky. You guarded yourself.
Note has it ripped away by Springer.
That was a brutal sequence by Note.
Pons advantage. Touch and the turnaround.
See the flick, Tom? You see the flick? Flick it.
Penetration. No whistle. A couple of balls got their hands on that one with Jalen Tate going down the lane.
Tom, watch Yves Pons. Watch how extended the left arm is, which is the shot arm. It's just going to be a flick up top. Bam, explode, up, extension, bam. Release, rotation, result. Well done, 35.
All right, gentlemen, thanks. The SEC, I think, is going to be wide open this year, Jimmy. There are going to be some teams that win on the road. Half of the road teams already have won this season. Vandy almost won last night at Kentucky. Got me thinking about Kentucky. Here's John Calipari. Third fastest is 700 wins, third most wins in the first 1,000, and third fastest is 700 in college basketball history behind Adolph Rupp and Roy Williams. It's been a tough go of it so far for Kentucky, even though they're undefeated in conference play at 2-0. Are the expectations out of whack in Kentucky when people are wondering if Cal's the right guy?
Well, I'll go back to my coaching days at Kentucky when I was there with Eddie Sutton. I remember him telling me one time the Kentucky job is the best job and the worst job all in the same 24-hour period. And that's what you're dealing with. And I was really bothered. You told me earlier today that B.J. Boston got booed last night on his home court. I looked down at Twitter during the timeout, and B.J. Boston has just tweeted, "I don't need any sympathy. I'm a man who's going to step up to every challenge and face it." Well done by Brandon Boston Jr. to respond like that. I don't understand people. I know basketball's important. You want to win, but man, you're booing a kid that's trying hard. Things aren't going his way. What is wrong? What is wrong with people? You agree? Disagree? Were you booing? Tell me.
I was not
wrong.
I mean, the appreciation and great block by Tennessee pushing the other way up by 4, or lack thereof, for a Hall of Fame coach and a player in B.J. Boston who's going to be a lottery pick. Last check, he was still slated to go 10th overall.
Well, that's not going to happen. But regardless, you don't boo a kid who's under a lot of stress as it is anyways because of the situation we're all dealing with. Things aren't rolling his way. I mean, it's not right. It's just there's no other way to put it. That is not right. Boo Calipari for playing him. That's what Cal said too, right?
Yeah, that's what he said after the game.
You know what? Fulke hurt himself on that last play. The whistle was blown. He went in and tried to dunk it anyways, and the rim blocked his stuff. That's not a good sign, I'm telling you.
Not a good way to have to leave the game. Reaching for the hamstring or the back of the right knee.
He fell awkwardly. He fell awkwardly on that right knee.
That possession ended on a Bailey foul. Arkansas turns it over again. That's turnover number 18.
Tennessee's a little bit like Auburn in terms of it's not a guarantee that you can just get it in on. They can really get in your chest and overplay with those big physical defenders and get their body on your body. That's exactly what they did to Tate on that inbounds play.
Mentioned Arkansas without Justin Smith tonight. Also KK Robinson, who hadn't scored tonight, hurt his foot. He's not going to return. So that depth for the Razorbacks taking a hit here in the last 7 minutes of the game.
Just going back off of Pons.
Can't make him pay. Pons has missed 2 threes tonight. He's 3 for 15 on the season. While Eric Musselman has tightened up his team shot selection, Rick Barnes has always said, my guys will have freedom to play on the offensive end as long as you do the other non-negotiables. Got a tight one coming down the wires. 6:26 remaining. Number 9 Tennessee trying to hold on to a 4-point lead. Number 1 versus number 3 there. Here number 9 Tennessee holding on to a 4-point advantage against Arkansas. Concerned about Tennessee starter John Fulkerson. This was while the play was dead after a foul. And he went down awkwardly and then came off the floor a moment later holding his back of his right leg.
And the bad thing about the whistle blows now and he goes ahead and goes in, but watch right there, and then it doesn't look good. And now that does look good. How about that? During the timeout, he wasn't even in the huddle. Now he's back on the floor.
Well, you would have known if he was in your living room. I mean, he's 6'9". 15 points in the night for Fulke, along with 3 assists. 11 of his 15.
They exhale right now. Ball Nation does.
Sigh of relief. Most of his points in the second half, and he's matched up with Vanover inside. Fade away. Tracked down by Josiah James.
Interesting, Vanover on the block, had his defender behind him. Arkansas turns him down. They don't even give him a chance as a back-to-the-back score. Driving again.
Turns into a fadeaway and off the front of the rim. 7-3 will do to you.
Have you watched Day'Ron Sharp from North Carolina play?
I have not seen him.
My gosh. Well done.
Bailey's third.
Yeah, keeping his feet underneath his shoulders. That Dayron Sharp kid is a one-man wrecking crew. 6'11" and 250. Big freshman for Carolina. That's what I'm talking about. Watch number 11. Keeps his feet under his shoulders. That's when you can really go through contact. You try to jump with your feet outside your shoulders, you get your stuff blocked, no foul occurs, and you're just going the other way in transition defense.
Tate was labeled the number 5 grad transfer in the country. Missed the free throw, tracked it down, couldn't squeeze it. Tennessee has been a slow-tempo team overall this season, primarily because they're such a great lockdown defensive team. Their offense has been very deliberate tonight. A lean back in and a bucket for Keon Johnson.
Yeah, he's got a bully game about him, Keon Johnson does. He doesn't get tired, and he doesn't get screened on the defensive end, and he's a post player in a guard's body offensively.
How about that shot selection from Noto?
No. But that's the one guy that you're going to live with 2 or 3 questionable shots a game because he can go get it.
6-point lead now for Tennessee.
A bad shot always equates to a good shot within the next 4 or 5 seconds going the other way.
James picks up the foul. Tennessee trying to storm back in this one. It's the first on Vance Jackson.
18 turnovers for Arkansas in the game. Watch Johnson right here. He does a good job of staying under control, and you get outside and let him pivot to the rim. You're going to give one up if you're Arkansas. Josiah Jordan James with that long reach, man. This kid makes plays outside of his reach zone a lot on both ends. Scoring around the rim, securing rebounds, getting deflections. He stars right now as a glue guy, as a former 5-star recruit. I love that about Joe James.
Donald's All-America, the first for Tennessee since Tobias Harris in 10, and the first 5-star for Rick Barnes. His dad, Kurt, played for Judd Heathcote at Michigan State back in the early 80s. Largest lead of the game for Tennessee at 7.
Hard for Arkansas to win hard games, and Moses Moody only has 6 points. And that's where he's stuck at right now. Can he change that around?
A race by Tennessee inside. Pick your ball on that one.
Yeah.
Fulkerson a little late getting down the floor. Bulls wouldn't mind running some clock.
He was held. He's held twice, Fulkerson.
Yes. He got a bump. He won't go home, but he finally gets a foul on Moody, and that's the 4th on the freshman. Number 9, Tennessee, trying to bounce back. They've got a 7-point lead, under 4 to go in Knoxville.
Total, that's coming up next.
Dynamic.
Homer Drew, the nicest man in college basketball history. Why would you want to go and break one of his records? Huh? Hey, speaking of records, Yves Pons is the first Tennessee player to block 4 shots in 3 consecutive games since C.J. Black did it in '99. He had 5 last time against Bama, and then 4 tonight. Fulkerson stayed on the line that time and didn't make it. He had 16. Leads 8 under 4 to go.
Again, Moses Moody, 6 points, tucked away in this left corner. Eric Musselman try to get a play call to get his leading scorer going with basically 3.5 to go.
See if that's on James. It would be his 2nd, or Vescovi. 2nd on the sophomore. Pardon me, that is the 3rd on James. J.D. Note at the free throw line. Number 1, Gonzaga highlights our Thursday night hoops doubleheader on ESPN and the app. Zags hosting 9-2 BYU at 8:30 Eastern. Then Mick Cronin and 7-2 UCLA are in Tempe to take on Bobby Hurley and 4-3 Arizona State. Gonzaga's worth staying up late for. It's not even that late for them. 8:30 Eastern.
Yeah. Now, just thinking about the Baylor, the most dynamic backcourt in college ball, and absolutely. But I think the guys at Gonzaga play with some anger and some bitterness, and I think Suggs and Nembhard, and you can include Kispert as a big guard, they would not back away from saying, you know what, we need to be included in that conversation as well. I would put them there. I think they're that good.
Note takes it hard to the rim. It's now a 4-point game. On the other side, Baylor had an 11-point game against Iowa State this weekend. They hadn't played in one game decided by fewer than 29 all season.
Yeah, how about that? They were pushed. Rick Barnes go to Fulke here, just go to Pond, just let him jump up over someone and make a shot.
They bring the double.
That's got
to wide open Vescovi. Pond's huge offensive rebound.
He's got to go in. Vescovi now 0 for 4, and there hasn't been an Arkansas defender within 10 feet of Vescovi anytime he's taken a 3 tonight, and has not made one.
Yeah. James around the corner. Fulker's got a hand on it. It's kicked out of bounds. It will stay with Tennessee with 1 second on the shot clock. What do you draw up here? How about a lob to Pons?
Lob to Pons. Absolutely. Start him away from the rim, back screening, throw it to the rim, and see if Pons can go do something that only 1 or 2 guys in all of college ball can do.
Johnson will.
No.
Huh. I mean, the bench knew there was one.
That's
the
the same
bench
response
knew there was
you had
one
when I
second.
told a great story one night, and you said, huh. That's the right call. The ball was deflected out of bounds off the defense to keep it at 1. Nice.
Vanover. He's got a dozen.
I said nice. I'm talking about the hands of Vanover, because that was a hard, quick bounce pass that could have caught Vanover by surprise, but his feet were organized, which organized his hands.
They show double on Fulkerson. Now they dig in on him.
That's a trip.
And blocking foul will go against Arkansas on the cut down the lane from Keon Johnson.
Good job by
second.
Tom, wasn't it a good job by Johnson to see Fulke was doubled up? So he gets to the high part of the high post and then just goes on a jet cut right down the middle. And just a good read by the freshman to understand, my guy needs help. I'm going to get to the help spot.
Keon Johnson at the free throw line. Skipped in.
Tom, I told you when it happened. Remember the play right before the half when Tennessee shot it too early? Yeah, Arkansas went down and got a 2 with 1/10 of a second left. That play was huge then, and it's going to be huge with 1:45 to go. Remember those 2 points that Arkansas got right before the horn.
Down 4 here. Note turns the corner. Not shy, and he rolls it over the front of the rim. 17 for Note.
Boy, really good job by Note to catch it on the move, and he was moving fast on the catch.
Musselman is furious that the loose ball was behind the standard and they didn't stop the clock, wasting precious seconds for the Hogs. And now Tennessee stops that clock with 1:19 remaining.
Get it on the move, stay on the move. Note is wired to score. A 2-point game in Knoxville. Important game for both the Hogs and the Vols.
If the Razorbacks can pull off a comeback, it'll be their first win against an AP top 10 opponent on the road since 2006 when they beat Tennessee 73-69. There's been no home court advantage this season in the SEC. Visiting teams have won half the games, Jimmy. It makes sense, right? I mean, there's no crowd at Thompson-Boling Arena. There's not 22,000 people in there.
Yeah, you're right. I think in the SEC, the 2 arenas that are impacted the most in terms of loss of crowd is Auburn Arena and Bud Walton Arena. Now, Thompson and Bowling can get rocking as well, but
sure,
Auburn and Arkansas, those fan bases, man, they're as good and powerful as they are at affecting the game. It's amazing to me that Tennessee, Tom, they've only turned the ball over 4 times in the game. Arkansas with 19 turnovers, so as a result of that, Tennessee has gotten 10 more shots up in this ball game, and still just a 2-point game.
James looking. They're trying to get Fulkerson set up. Vescovi has had a tough night offensively. Cuts aren't there. Shot clock at 10. They overplay the left, and it turns into an Arkansas takeaway and a quick timeout granted to Jalen Tate.
Good.
That overplay of the left killing him.
Yes, great awareness by Tate, because the possession arrow is in favor of Tennessee. And most likely he was reminded of that coming out of that last timeout. You start talking about those things at the 2-minute mark with your team. And Arkansas was probably told, if it is a tie ball, it's going to be possession arrow Tennessee. We have to take a timeout to save it. Your description on that Arkansas defense, Tennessee tried to get him to overbite and back cut him. Arkansas had nothing to do with it. Stayed between the cutter and the rim and took the play away.
Jimmy, at what point is Vescovi hurting more than helping? He's 1 for 7 from the floor. Got a couple turnovers in this game.
Well, right now he's hurting more than helping. He got 2 points. He does not have that go by really anyone's speed. And when he's not making threes, and Rick's done a good job of moving him off the ball tonight. And that way you can't really take away his left hand. You make him more of a shooting guard, but he has not produced in that shooting guard spot. Big possession right here for Arkansas on the road. Where do you go? Moody's been your guy all year long. Notae's been the guy that's gone and get you a bucket in this game.
Tate lost his footing. Loose ball, kicks it out to Note. Deep three, Jackson. Oh, is halfway down. Rebounded by Tennessee. Keon Johnson came out of there with it.
Man, a crazy possession. Great effort by Arkansas to get on that floor and keep the ball alive. And Jackson got a wide open three. And if he had been in that far corner, it would have gone down, because that's where it's been his honey hole for the night. Vanover right at the rim. Can't get it to go down, and Tennessee lucky. Johnson, he tried to dribble a loose ball in traffic, and it almost cost him a turnover. Just secure the dadgum thing, right?
Yeah, that's like picking up a football.
Yes.
For a scoop and score, just fall on it. Another free throw coming for Johnson. This will make it a 2-possession game with 42 seconds remaining. Big free throw. Falls by 4. Here's Note. He's got 17 in this game. Behind Vanover. On Pons. Pons couldn't get it, and Note rolls it home.
A quick transition ball screen by Note gets him to the rim. One of the most difficult finishes of this game against Pons, who can really just eliminate these kind of shots for the most part. But look at Note go into the body of Pons, knock him off the path. Does a good job of keeping his eyes on the rim and keeps Arkansas right in this game. That was beautiful basketball, one-on-one by Note.
It puts Keon Johnson at the free throw line. Elsewhere in the SEC tonight. He's got 2, by the way, and that first one rolls home. They're in overtime in Baton Rouge, LSU and Georgia in a 1-point game with 2.5 to go with LSU in front.
Man, I do not, you're going to know what I'm going to say. I have very little trust in LSU's defense, and they are outstanding on the offensive end.
Lead back to 4.
Just, drive the ball. Tennessee doesn't want to foul you. Drive it, keep the game going.
Oh, Tate for 3. Of course, 4-point game. Tennessee with the lead. Let's get you to the studio. Here's Kevin Connors.
All right, Tom, we are counting you down to Oklahoma Baylor. How about the Waco native Fonz, Umoja Gibson?
North Texas transfer, 59% from 3 over his last 5 games. He's got to get some shots tonight.
He's been playing really good basketball. You'll see the Sooners and the number 2 ranked Baylor Bears after our great finish, Tom.
All right, Kevin, thanks. That's what it's setting up to be. Number 9, Tennessee, with a 1-point lead against Arkansas.
Tom, Tate had not attempted a 3-point shot in this game until right there. And he takes a guarded 3 with pressure on him and delivers. He was not known as a 3-point shooter when he transferred into Arkansas, and that 3 ball falls for him at about a 38% rate. And Arkansas right back in this game. I'm telling you again, the 2 points that Arkansas got right before the half is why we are where we are.
We're also here right now because Arkansas has made 5 of 7. And Tennessee doesn't have a field goal in the last 4:26. Hogs are looking for their first top 10 road win since 2006. They led by 7 at the break.
The offense for Tennessee tonight has been Joe James. Bailey's got 17. Johnson's got 14. They have balance. They have different options to go to. If I know Rick Barnes like I think I know Rick Barnes, he's going to get this ball inside. And that's his DNA, that's his core, that's his comfort level and confidence level. Right now you got to get it in.
Yeah, going to face pressure first. Vescovi back to Bailey. Bailey gives it back to Vescovi. Got to get across midcourt. Vescovi will do that, then he picks up his dribble. 16 seconds left. Timeout Tennessee with 15 on the clock. All right, so Tennessee can set something up from the side inbounds, leading by just 1.
Good job by Vescovi to get the ball across the timeline. I wasn't a big fan of him picking it up, but once he did, he did the right thing to cover it up and not allow the hot hands of Arkansas to come in. And again, Tom, you got to get it in right now is the most important thing. Don't expect Arkansas just to sit back and not put some pressure on the pass and try to get body on body and force a turnover. So you got to get the ball in if you're Tennessee. And then if you're Arkansas, you have to look up and think, I got time to try to get a steal, try to gamble, try to come up with something. And if not, at some point, that foul has to occur. The clock's going to run out. Tennessee's going to get the win.
Tennessee in the double bonus. Eric Musselman had a 7-point lead at the break with a fantastic effort by Arkansas tonight. Now they need a takeaway.
I would pressure so hard right now if I'm Arkansas at every spot. Face guard, pressure, talk it out, fight, 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 fight. You got it, you got him, you got him. There you go.
Had to use another timeout.
Really well done by Arkansas. They face guarded the 4 guys on the floor. They put really a lot of heat and pressure on the ball. And they won that fight. They won that round.
Tennessee out of timeouts. Arkansas is also out of timeouts.
Well, I'll say it again. You got to get it in. And Tennessee's a good free throw shooting team. Those top 6 or 7 guys are all 75% or higher. So there's options to get it to. There's not a bad free throw shooter on the floor for Tennessee. Keon Johnson at 58% coming in, but I think you've got a better stroke than that, 45 in white. But right now, you have to get it in. What is your must get it in play?
Yeah.
We're getting ready to see it.
Who's your possession receiver, right? Who can go get the ball for you?
Yeah. And if you're Eric Musselman, you don't do anything except what you just did. Take a sip of that Diet Pepsi, put your mask back on, and say pressure, pressure, pressure. Win the fight one more time. Tennessee's going to throw it in.
See if they have a lob to Pons. He's guarded by Jackson. Into Vescovi in the corner. And a quick foul. 9/10 of a second come off the clock as Devontae Davis will send Vescovi to the free throw line. He is not just good on the season, Jimmy. He's great in his career. 23 of 24 in the last 4 minutes of a game in overtime.
Yeah, he's 10 out of 10 this year from the free throw line. So Rick Barnes, I think he back screened Vescovi to the corner, got exactly what he wanted.
Which was totally different from what they did on the previous failed inbounds when Vescovi went into the backcourt.
Now you're starting to think about that, do you foul up 3 thing, and way too much time to even think about it right now. It's around 5 seconds is when that decision comes into play. But
knocks the ball down. 14 seconds left. Here comes Tate into the front court. Down 3, 10. Tate will pull off the back rim. Rebound secured by Josiah James, and he'll go to the line with 5 seconds left with a chance to put it away.
Tom, Tennessee was very fortunate. They switched, but they switched flat. They did not switch up. Watch right here. You're going to see the switch occur. Josiah Jordan James, you got to come out. You got to come out. Man, his feet were behind that three-point line or on it, and very fortunate that that ball didn't drop. You cannot switch flat or low in that situation.
Huge free throw for James. Makes it a 2-possession game with 5 seconds left. And Tennessee 5 seconds away from erasing their lone loss of the season. 5-point game. What an effort by Arkansas. They're going to fall to 9-2 on the season. A loose ball, Vescovi finds it, and it was Vescovi's free throws that sealed the deal for Rick Barnes and Tennessee. 79-74. Tennessee avoids the home upset. Could be a great night of hoops. Oklahoma taking on undefeated and second-ranked Baylor. It's Chris Patola along with our buddy Rich Hollenberg. Let's get you to Waco for Oklahoma and Baylor.